And then at some point, you guys get, I'm going to mutilate this name, but Raphael Loureiro? How do we
That's
say that?
pretty good. Yeah, Rafael Loureiro. That's it. Yeah.
So that's he's the illustrator. At what point does he come into the process, and how does he get to come in without feeling like the third wheel when you guys have been working on this for some time? How long did you work on this before you get him incorporated?
Man, I don't know. Not too long, but I don't know. For probably a year or two, we kicked it around at least before he came on.
True. But our conversations with him, I mean, the wonderful thing about the graphic novel is that we took, everybody made it better. Everybody that touched it made it better. And once he started coming up with designs for things started changing. The script started changing, like it was like, oh my gosh. And so the graphic novel script, I think, had a kind of a rebirth once we started seeing pages, once things started actually being generated with a degree of momentum, because just seeing it cultivate, or seeing it realized in real time was phenomenal. It was just a phenomenal way of kind of gauging what was working, what was not working, what we wanted more of. It turned out we wanted a lot more of everything. It doubled in size, over the course of that period. But we were actively revising the document as Raph was illustrating in a great many ways. He had an entire copy of the book. He knew where it was going. But we were still revising in advance of his illustrations. It was very organic.
Yeah, as far as like Raphael I did a comic series with Raphael called The Mall. And when we were looking for an illustrator for that, I wanted a certain style that was kind of like comic books meet like Saturday morning cartoons. And I saw I was looking for artists, and I saw his portfolio somehow. It was like 4 pages of a comic, and I was like, what comics is this? I love this art style. And he was like, kind of strange about it. He never said like it was this comic or whatever. And then he was like, do you like that? And he's like, I'll do some test pages. And he did some test pages for The Mall that were fantastic. And what I found out is he was an architect who wanted to do comic books. So he had this classical training of like technical drawing and stuff. And those pages he did were just like pages he did to show that he could do comic books. They weren't from an actual comic. And so The Mall was the first thing he did. And the guy is like so talented and so amazing. And when I finished The Mall, I wanted him to do this. And so I hit him with this, and he agreed. And I think when he agreed, he didn't know it was going to be a 200-page book. I think we thought, oh, it'll be like 80 pages or 100 pages. And as it grew, that's a huge time commitment for an artist. And I think for him, you don't know. I mean, look, there's times when Josh and I were in the middle of this where we're like, we're writing a book about unicorns. What's wrong with us? Like, where did we, how did we get in this place? But, because you lose your way sometimes, you lose your purpose. And I think, for him, I think at the end of the journey, he has some friends that read the book that really were touched by it. And I think that's when he realized, what he had done. And, he's really, we can't say enough about, his contribution and how great he was. And also, I just like to say that the cover artist, Nicholas Ely, who's a frequent collaborator of mine, he did the cover for The Rift. When he did that cover, we were still in early stages of developing the story. And I was like, we got to do a book that's as good as his cover. It like elevated my thoughts of like what the book should be. And I'd approached, some people early on with the idea and the concept, and it just really helped us kind of find our way. And the last thing we should mention, which we'd be remiss not to, is we were very fortunate when we were doing the graphic novel. Because we finished the graphic novel script and the art takes so long, that he was working on like issue 2 or 3, we were already taking the screenplay out to try to find packaging elements to it with a company called Armory Films, which did Mudbound and Peanut Butter Falcon, some great films. And we were fortunate enough to get Debbie Berman, who was the editor of Black Panther and Captain Marvel and Spider-Man Homecoming, to sign on to making her directorial debut. And she comes from that Marvel universe, and the editors there are very involved in the story and recutting the story and reshooting and all that stuff. So she was very, Deb is incredibly smart about story and gave us amazing notes and feedback on the story. And, you know, I had to say to her one time, like, Deb, if we give you 10 pages of script and you give us more pages of notes than we gave you of scripts, you're hurting our feelings. You need to bring, but so some of that stuff, because Raphael wasn't finished with the book yet, we were able to then take some of the stuff that we did, Josh and I would create based on some of the feedback we got from everyone, and allow that to make the book better. So in some ways we felt like we were doing like a Pixar or like an animation style, where it's like you're doing a version of the book and then you're a version of the movie, and then you're rewriting as you go, and it's getting better and better. And, you know, we hope to continue that process as we go through hopefully making the film.
Well, now I assume she's excited about the story in a way she might not be if you guys had already completed it fully, and then she comes to it without any kind of room for her to provide you with more pages of notes than you gave her originally.
Yeah, and she is not afraid to give notes, but the notes are all intelligent and thoughtful, and they make you better. And that's, again, you know, my journey has been about learning to sort of receive those notes, and it just makes things better, you know. So